I've stood in deserts, I've walked through storms, I've buried friends, I've worn ranks I never imagined earning. But when people ask what I remember most, it isn't Iraq, it isn't Katrina, it isn't the medals or the deployments. It's a bus rolling through the gates of Fort Leonard Wood, and a stale cigarette waiting in a wall locker. The bus rolled through Missouri rain, young and dumb and full of fire, heart pounding like a marching drum, chasing something I couldn't quite name. A drill sergeant stepped aboard, calm as any man could be, said, "We can't yell, swear, or touch you now. Those are the rules, you see." My stomach dropped, I won't lie, thought maybe I'd been sold a tale. Then his face changed, the thunder rolled. "You got 10 seconds to get off my bus." And I damn near smiled, because right then I knew the stories weren't lies. The road would be hard, and that's exactly why I'd come. Here's to the kid who stepped off that bus, thinking he knew what he came there for. Here's to the voices that pushed us harder than we'd ever pushed ourselves before. To the miles, the mud, the sleepless nights, to lessons written deep inside, and to the drill sergeants who saw a leader before I ever saw one in my life. One cigarette in a wall locker drawer, graduation date in faded ink. Everybody else had given theirs up, but they let me keep mine there to think. Every morning I'd see that date, every night before lights out. I promise sitting silent there without a single trace of doubt. BRM in freezing sleet, targets falling in the wind, sometimes dropping before we fired, still we'd load and shoot again. Patrol cars and riot lines, urban streets and paperwork, learning how to lead by serving first, learning what discipline was worth. They weren't teaching us to shout, they weren't teaching us to fight, they were teaching us to carry weight when things stopped going right. Here's to the kid who stepped off that bus, thinking he knew what he came there for. Here's to the voices that pushed us harder than we'd ever pushed ourselves before. To the sweat, the heat, the endless drills, to standards standing higher still, and to the drill sergeants who saw a leader before I ever knew I was. Years passed, the Pentagon, Baghdad, storms and sirens, ranks and responsibilities, brothers gained, brothers lost, and somehow, when memory reaches back through all those years, it finds Fort Leonard Wood. I remember your names, I remember your voices, I remember why you were hard, because someday, somewhere, somebody would need us to be stronger than we thought we could be. And you knew it before we did. Toward the end they trusted me to help the ones who struggled most, drawing rifles after training hours, working through the fundamentals slow. Back then I thought I was helping them. Funny how time reveals the truth. The whole time they were teaching me what leaders really do. Not authority, not rank, not being first in line. Leadership is staying late so somebody else can shine. Here's to the kid who stepped off that bus with no idea who he'd become. Here's to the Kare who refused to quit until the work was done. To every lesson earned in sweat, to every standard not lowered yet, to every future they could somehow see when all we saw was uncertainty. Here's to one cigarette waiting through it all. A promise kept, a challenge met, a reminder standing tall. Because the smoke was gone in minutes, but the lesson never died. The drill sergeant saw a leader there, and after all these years, I'm proud to say they were right. Graduation morning, I opened that wall locker one last time. The cigarette was stale, the promise wasn't. I lit it anyway.